Hi, I'm Bhavna. I'm a psychotherapist practicing in Atlanta, and I am an immigrant. I came to US about 10 years ago. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia, and I work mostly with couples, families, and individuals. I work at Pine River Psychotherapy. I have masters in psychology, masters in child analysis and mental health, and masters in family therapy.
What is the therapeutic techniques that you use?
I use a bunch of therapeutic techniques, from narrative therapy to process-oriented therapies and emotional-focused therapy. But the baseline to all therapies remain: we want to understand what's your story, what's your process in your story, what makes you who you are today, how did we arrive where we are today, how are you perceiving the world, and how do we show up relationally with our families, with our partners, with our children. So that's usually the technique that I follow.
So today we're talking about emotions-focused therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. Emotionally focused therapy is much recent force in psychotherapy, and it has been extremely helpful framework to do relational work with couples, families, and sometimes within the individuals as well. In emotional focused therapy, we try to identify a cycle. What is a cycle? Cycle is how you and I connect and disconnect. In both the situations, you'll have a cycle. EFT believes relationships are co-created, problems are co-created, and as EFT therapists, we try to understand how come we have co-created the dynamic. What is our cycle? What do you begin to do that I begin to act this way? What are my unmet attachment needs that get activated when you show up a certain way? So as an EFT therapist, we talk about attachment patterns, unmet emotional needs, and find ways to get fulfillment from our relationship. Like we say, we try to create a therapeutic relationship between a couple.
What would you like our community, the South Asian community, to know about EFT?
I want our South Asian community to know about EFT that it is a form of therapy that is in tune with some of the ways we already live. We have quite a baseline in our South Asian family systems already, which is one of the common things, is relationship. We do value relationships, we do value community. We do want to understand how can I make myself better to serve the relationships. However, what EFT also brings up that as a community we definitely need help with is how can we show up as two adults in relationship versus hierarchically? How can we put some patriarchy, some sexism aside and say like, hey, we are two grown-up adults, we both have needs, and can we figure this out together? How can we connect before we correct each other in relationships, in our family systems and couples?
Have you seen EFT work with South Asian couples?
Yes, all the time. It works really well.
Can you give us examples of what you've seen?
Well, there has been very good example. I have used EFT in family system, and in families, when you have families of 4 adults, which is 2 parents and 2 grown-up kids, it can be hard for parents to make sense of how to show up to an adult kid, right? And EFT, which is emotionally focused family therapy, helps us navigate the dyads, the dynamics in the cycles that form within the family system, and make sense of like, okay, when a father begins to behave a certain way, then the rest of the family behaves in a different way. But when an adult kid makes a choice which is different from a parental figure, it creates ripples. And how can we identify that that's an adult child's identity? You and the parents are entitled to their identity, but still we can connect in our differences.
Nice. Have you personally been in this kind of therapy?
Yes, I have.
And can you tell us about what you've experienced personally with EFT?
I have been part of EFT, which is emotionally focused individual therapy, and in that it has been interesting for me to see for myself, how do I show up in my relationship with my partner in regards to how I was showing up with my parents, to become aware of my own internal understanding of relationship, my own relational understanding of my parents' relationship, and what am I bringing to my own marriage, and myself as a parent was quite an eye-opening experience for me.
Wow. Is there anything else that you would like us to know about EFT, EFT, or EFFT?
What I would like to know, should you choose to go for mental health services, do ask your providers. Is that something you offer? EFT is a depth-oriented therapy. It will take you much deeper. It will not just talk about symptoms. It will talk about, okay, these are the symptoms, but what feels unfinished? Where is the wound? Where is your hurt? Where are you bleeding from? Would be addressed in this model. I would encourage you to find more about it. There is a website called ICEFT, ICEFT. It is an international website, and you can always put your zip code and find an EFT therapist on that website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.